Hi there, my name's John Stevens. I'm pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA. And welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary texts and we tie them to item from the Dollar Tree, maybe, the garage, the kid room, the junk drawer, someplace where we've got something to talk about. This is for the second Sunday after Easter, and I am so glad you're here, and I am hoping your Easter season is blessed. It's Easter. Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Hallelujah. It's over a year, and we're doing this, and you're rocking it, and I want to continue to tell you that because you're doing it. This is for the text that we get every year after Easter. It's the Jesus shows up. Scars, little wounds in the side, wounds on the hands, shows to the disciple, breathes on them, which is a interesting text for COVID times, but breathes on them, peace be with you. And then Thomas hears about it, and Thomas just wants what everybody else saw. We know it. You've heard it. All that. So what do we talk about? What are the springboards? Well, so underneath this on the Dollar Store Children's Sermons page, I have a link to last year's where I taught a trick knot, and it was about talking about Jesus saying, peace be with you, and about the knots in our stomach, and about how when I'm upset, that's where I feel it, in the gut. And so we talk about that. So you can take a look at that. I teach how to do the trick. It's not really a trick. It's a trick knot. But anyway, you can take a look at that. This year, the springboards I'm looking at, and my hesitation right there is that I probably will use that trick knot again because it's a really great illustration. And if you took time and learned it last year, or you want another shot at it, this is your chance. And it's about Jesus bringing peace. And after doing this for over a year, that is a strong message about bringing peace peace to the gut. Where it's like, Jesus, peace be with you. So the other springboards looking at is a Band-Aid. And I've used this before, and when I see someone with a Band-Aid, I recognize that they're wounded. It points them out. I ask curious questions about what happened, especially if it's a kid, and you're teaching, it's like, oh, tell me about it. It's the same way when I'm teaching middle school or high school kids, and you start talking about scar stories. I have a scar right here on my hand. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it's right there. And I talked to the kids about how I got that scar when I was backpacking with my family, and I fell on probably the only piece of glass on the entire mountain. And I start talking about that story. Not necessarily in the children's sermon, but when I talk to kids and we talk about scar stories, it brings out a lots of conversation pieces because we connect with that. And so there's this idea of the Band-Aid. I'm also thinking of like a landmark of some sort where you know where you're at. Like, let's say, you're talking to the kids and you're like, if you invited me to your house and I was driving down the street, what's something you would tell me to look for that I would know that I was close to your house? How would I know? And you've got the address. That's a good landmark. Or, for us, it's like when you take the Camas exit. Well, of course, the kids aren't going to be driving, but you're looking. And what I want you to do is I want you to look for this where you get off and you drive around and around and around. It's called a roundabout, but you drive around and around. You'll know that you're close to my house. There's a landmark that tells us that we're close. There, you can have a picture of someone in your family that you look like, that where you're like, I can tell you're related. There's something that is a connection. And it all has to do with they knew it was Jesus when he showed them the scars. And when we see one another, there's those connections. And then you can even, if you want, there's an old camp song, they'll know that we are Christians by our love. All of those things that connect us. How do we know it's Jesus? How do we know it's the church? How do we know these things? And it's about how those recognizable things. For Jesus, it's the scars, and for us, it's how we treat one another and how we treat our neighbor. And we are resurrection people. We are new life people. So lots of springboards here, and so yeah. So that's kind of what I'm working with. Moving into Holy Week. It's actually Wednesday of Holy Week, tomorrow, Monday, Thursday. So I wanted to get this up for you. And yeah, and it's a good time to ask the kids questions and to say, how would we know? And kids love talking about their house. Let's say, here's another springboard, and you're like going locally, because we can't go into people's homes yet. Maybe some of you can, but we're definitely not there. So talking to the kids, and you say, let's say you're having a Zoom conversation. They say, if I was at your house and I was walking down and we had 3 bedrooms, or if we had 2 bedrooms, or there was, so if there's 2 bedrooms and I walked into one, how would I tell that it was your bedroom? What would you, do you have posters on the wall? What do you like? And what would you have, if, I don't know, if you're talking to one of the girls in your youth group that is a soccer player, they might have the soccer ball in there. Or you're talking to one of the boys that plays the flute, and they has a flute. Things that connect us, that tell us the story about who we are. And Jesus ultimately is who we are and who we are about, and it's new life. Anyway, all kinds of questions and things to do and how to connect. So I hope some of this can be helpful for you, a springboard for your own children's sermon. And again, let me be the voice that tells you that you're rocking this, that you're doing. I keep you in prayer, and I hope you're doing well, and know that you are rocking it. This is a long time. There's glimmers of hope. We're resurrection people, so there's always glimmers of hope. But boy, it's tiring, but you're doing well. All right? Peace, my friends. I will see you next week.